tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good evening everyone. So we are continuing our lecture series on Dhammavinicchaya. I think we are initiating after a few months of holiday. So far we have done 12 questions discussed in Dhammavinicchaya, written by Venerable, late Venerable Chandavira Mahathera. And I think we discussed some interesting topics, and you can refer to them back in the YouTube. And yeah, we took some time discussing each question because there are certain things to be elaborated and explained, and that sometimes that would lead to certain doubts, and also that should be clarified. Otherwise, certain arguments or disagreements could happen when deciding or when learning the Dhamma. So today's, I think I have shared the handout, and I hope it has already been shared in the groups. So question number 13, which is a pressing question among most of the Buddhists with regard to, based on their faith actually, based with regard to what to be done to the offerings that were made to the Buddha, because pious devotees normally make offerings to the Buddha at home, and also they do so in temples as well. So how should we treat them, or how should we, when we are discarding them? Surely you have to discard them at a certain stage, especially when you have offered food and ornaments such as the offerings such as flowers and so forth. When they get withered, and when otherwise the altar will be dirty, so it has to be removed. And how should we treat them, those offerings? That's a pressing question, and many are quite afraid to deal with it boldly. So Mahathera has discussed on this question. What should be done with the food and drink offerings dedicated to the Buddha at monasteries and similar places? So this includes at your home as well. So first of all, we should know that if something is offered to the Buddha, that belongs to the Buddha, right? That's even though he has passed away. We have discussed this question in the previous questions, that who is the actual owner of an offering dedicated to the Buddha, even though he has passed away, even though he has attained the Parinibbana, he is no more, but who is the actual possessor? If someone steals such offerings, what type of demerit one is accumulating based on whose virtues and so forth? Because if you steal from a normal ordinary person, you get demerits, and if you steal from the Sangha's property, obviously we would accumulate, we'll be unfortunate to receive a lot of demerits than stealing from an ordinary person. That is not to encourage stealing from ordinary people, but the level of demerit decides on the virtues of the person. And that's also applicable. The same theory applies in killing living beings. Someone might kill a certain ordinary being and kill his own mother. The two karmas have different gravities. That's obviously understandable in terms of Buddhist fundamentals. So if you steal something that is offered to the Buddha in the monastery, or maybe in the house, that is taking away, that amounts to taking away a property that was dedicated or that belongs to the Buddha. So it's like stealing from the Buddha. So is it equal to stealing from the Buddha, a property from the Buddha who is alive? So that question can be asked. In my opinion, stealing while the Buddha is alive is a much severe, greater, heinous deed than stealing something offered to the Buddha who has already passed away. But anyway, but it's a very clear point according to the Theravada fundamentals, that stealing something that is offered to the Buddha or dedicated to the Buddha amounts to a great sin, Orlo Suti and so now, the clear point is this is a property belonging to the Buddha. So now how should we deal with it? Because even though we have offered after we have left the monastery or we have finished the offering, the ownership is not automatically discarded. It doesn't automatically get vanished. So it doesn't vanishes. So it means the possession always is with him unless he has discarded it. But there is a practical issue since he is not alive. How should we deal with it? If you think about a practical thing now, if flowers were offered to the Buddha while he was alive, and when they get withered or when they are about to get withered, surely Venerable Ananda would discard them even without asking the Buddha. That's an obvious thing. That's what we do with regard to senior Theras as well. If you are attending a senior Mahathera or doing service to a senior Mahathera or a person, so normally what we do is we would take away when the things are getting withered or things are to be get rot, we would remove it even without asking the Thera. Just beg your pardon. I just want to. Yeah. So normally that would be the procedure, and we can assume that the Venerable Ananda would have followed the same course with regard to the offerings that were made. But he would never remove. I don't think he would ever remove a robe that was offered to the Buddha, because it's something that can be used for a longer period. He would surely ask the Buddha's permission if he is to remove it to give it to someone, some other monk and so forth. So now. It's obvious that before it get rots or it's becoming before it's going to defile the places, obviously we have to remove it. If the Buddha was alive, normally we would get the permission, but if some things are very obvious, like such as flowers, incense and all those stuff, if they are going to make the place dirty and if there are going to be no use for the Buddha anymore, surely we would remove it even without his permission. So that's why we obviously remove the food that has been offered after a few hours, and also after few sessions we would remove the flowers that were offered to the Buddha. But we have to always keep it in mind. We are taking out something that belongs to the Buddha, and we are doing it with a wholesome mind. We don't have the stealing mind, because we are doing it for the purpose of cleaning the place. But the problem is, now flowers we surely throw it away, but what happens is with regard to the food, because those food when we are taking away before they get rot, obviously we can use them. We can use them, we can consume them. So is it a sin to consume them, or is it a sin to give away to someone? That is the pressing question that is asked by Mahathera. Actually it's a question prevailing among the Buddhists. Obviously even today people do ask this question very often. Then with regard to requisites which are much stable or which can last long, such as robes or maybe a jewelry or some kind of ornament or a flower made out of gold or whatever permanent, like which can last long, when such a thing is offered, we are not allowed to remove it. Obviously we are not allowed to remove that away. So the question arises, because, and we also know that it's not something, it's not appropriate to take it away, because it can be there, it could decorate that place, and it can be used for the purpose of maintaining the chaitya or the pagoda or the bodhi tree, or even doing some renovation to the Buddha statue. So the question arises, is focused mainly on the edible items that can be consumed. So are we just going to discard it? And just discarding is not an issue, because everyone knows it has to be removed. The pressing question is it a sin to consume for our own benefit? Now I hope we got the, we first clarified the scope of our question. So first of all, we have to understand that it's whatever is offered to the Buddha, any requisite offered to the Buddha, requisites offered to the Buddha belongs to him. All the requisites offered to the Buddha belongs to him. Out of them, there are sort of stable ones. I'll just say stable ones, which can last for long, such as robes, gems, and so forth. The list goes on. And then such are things such as flowers, lamps, incense sticks, right? So they can be discussed, and edible items. So there is no argument. We have to keep them. There's no doubt in it, right? You have to keep them. That's why it's a great sin to take away the jewelry or the treasures that were dedicated to the Buddha statues or the Buddha shrines. So we call as a nidana. Stealing them or taking away is a great sin. There's no argument in it. And discarding them is also not an issue. Discarding them is not an issue. Discarding, yes, because we know that it has to be discarded, otherwise it would defile or pollute the place. It is anyone, if someone argues, no, it belongs to the Buddha, it has to be kept there, we know it's a very foolish argument, or which doesn't have much validity. We are not going to consider it much. Even here, we know it belongs to the Buddha, but it has to be thrown away. Even Ananda would have done it, and it's obvious, it's something very practical. The question that arises is, now edible items, can they be consumed? Instead of discarding, yes, we take it out, we are discarding it, can they be consumed? Can they be consumed? Is it a sin? Is it a sin? This is the obvious question. Okay. Now, we have to understand, we are not supposed to take away the Buddha stuff freely because it belongs to the Buddha. Buddha is the owner, even though he is no more. And yes, certain things we have to remove, certain things we have to keep. And there is also a very interesting question, how to deal with them. How to deal with them. If they get decayed, the robes get decayed, and if they are attacked by the termites, or if they start to torn apart. So yes, then at some level we have to throw it away, obviously, if they get decayed. But it will take time. Things such as jewelry and so forth, yeah, they don't get decayed very easily, so we have to keep them. Or then how to deal with it. There's another in the long term, how can we deal with them, or what to do, right? What are the possibilities? This is another interesting question, which I'll discuss about this as well. Now the first question is it a sin to consume them? So we'll go into the handout and directly discuss the topic. The Mahathera has given some information. After the passing away of the Tathagata, as the first Sangika Dana mentioned in the Dakkinavibhanga Sutta, it is stated that one may place a Buddha image containing relics in the midst of the two groups of Sangha who have gathered, that is Bhikkhu Sangha and the Bhikkhuni Sangha, place a bowl before the image, first offer everything to the Tathagata, to the image, and then everything means like first offer the first portion, it should be corrected, this first portion to Tathagata, and then give alms to the Sangha, right? So what they are, because in Dakkinavibhanga Sutta we have 7 types of Sangika Danas. One is offering the Sangha, offering 2 types of Sangha led by the Buddha. Buddha Pamukha Ubato Sanghi. Now bhikkhus are there, bhikkhunis are there, and the Buddha is also present. So offering its entire group is the first type of Sangika Dana. This would surpass any offering, any Sangika Dana. Because it's not possible, just offering to the Buddha is lower than offering to the Sangha led by the Buddha. Because Buddha is also present in there. Buddha is also present there in that group. So obviously that dana would surpass any offering made to any individual, because the highest individual dana would be offering to the Buddha, and if you are offering to the Buddha together with the Sangha, that has to be greater than the individual offering. Now the instruction is given. If now after the Buddha has passed away, how can we do this first type of dana? How can we I would say imitate this first type of dana? How can we make a at least make an attempt to give that dana? Is that to place the Bhikkhu Sangha BKS in one side and Bhikkhuni in another side, and place a Buddha statue. What they are suggesting is together with dhatu, with relics, and make the offering first to the Buddha and then offer to the Sangha. Right? So instead of dhatu, in the ancient days, the Buddha was alive. When the Buddha was alive, Buddha was sitting here. Buddha was in the front seat. Right? So since the Buddha has gone, is no more, it would be better if we can offer these two relics. If we are unable to find the relics, we can at least place a Buddha image and do the offering. Or if possible, yes, offer to a Paribhogika Chetya as well, but that seems not very practical. So either we offer to a Buddha statue or we offer to the relics. So that's what is normally done. And as a custom these days, when we invite the Sangha to our house, before offering to the monks, we place the Buddha Puja in the first place and then offer the Sangha. That's the custom that we are used to do. Now in this case, offerings are made to the Buddha and offerings are made to the Sangha. Now we see what Mahatera is saying. With regard to what should be done with the food and drink offered to the Buddha on that occasion, Dakinavibhanga Sutta commentary explains as follows. I'll just read the English quotation, translation. If something has been offered to the Buddha, what should be done with it? It should be given to a virtuous bhikkhu virtuous bhikkhu who does service to the Buddha. Right? There are some monks who are taking care of the shrine, taking care of the Bodhi tree or the Buddha statue, who is doing the duties in the shrine room and so forth. He is the one who is considered making offerings to doing service to the Buddha. Since what belongs to a father, now it should be given to the attending monk. Now who represents Venerable Ananda, for example. Now any monk who is doing the cleaning and so forth of the statue and whatever shrine. Then the second possibility is, since what belongs to a father passes to the son, the son inherits what the possessions of the father, it is also proper to give it to the community of bhikkhus, Sangha. You can give to any monk, to the Sangha. So either the first option would be for the attending monk to take it. The second would be to give to the Sangha or to any monk, because monks are considered the sons of the Buddha. Right? Taking oil and ghee, now if oil and ghee, such things are offered, right? If oil was offered, just pure oil or ghee was offered, such things can be used for some other purposes. So we are talking about rice and so forth. If rice and such edible items are offered, yes, attending monk can consume it, or it can be given to another monk. But if things such as ghee and oil were offered, they can be utilized in other purposes, especially lighting lamps, or maybe to apply on some place for some other activity, I don't know, whatever. Taking oil and ghee, lamp should be lit. If a robe is being offered, a cloth is being, we cannot just give it to a monk. No, we cannot do that. A monk cannot just take the robe and use it or wear it. It should be hoisted as a flag, or it should be put as a sort of covering over the Buddha statue, or we can still keep it as a requisite to the Buddha, or we can make a carpet or such whatever as a screen or whatever. We have to utilize it for the purpose of the Buddha. So now the permanent objects such as robes and so forth, we are not supposed to discard them. We are not supposed to give it to anyone. Even oil, which can be considered as an edible item, should not be discarded, because it can be used to light lamps. Now, flowers, incense, sticks, Buddha, the commentary has not discussed. Obviously, we are not going to use them. And when they are about to wither, or after they have withered, when we see that if they are still blossoming, yes, we should not remove them, because it would decorate the place. After their time has elapsed, yes, we can remove them. Then It's when you feel like it has withered, sort of, it has dried away and it's in the dying processes. In my opinion, at that time we normally take them away before it get withered, because it's not nice to have the withered flowers in the Buddha's altar. Then altar, sorry. So then edible items, yes, edible items monks can consume. It's very clearly mentioned. In accordance with this commentary passage, the proper procedure regarding food and drink brought and offered at monasteries and similar places should be explained thus. Now Mahathera is explaining, giving a sort of a practical explanation to this above commentarial passage. A bhikkhu who regularly performs duties at the monastery should take them. Anyone who performs duties should take them. If there is no resident bhikkhu who regularly performs duties, a visiting bhikkhu should perform the duties and then take them. Now, if there is a regular monk who is doing the duties in the Buddha's shrine, yes, he can take them. Or otherwise, any monk who visits that place, can do the duties and take the edible items and consume them. That's possible. If there is no resident bhikkhu who regularly performs duties, a visiting bhikkhu should perform the duties and then take them. So either a person who is doing the duties regularly should take them, or someone who comes can do the duties and take them. If there is insufficient time to perform the duties first, so offered food and drinks may be taken and the duties performed later, right? And the duties performed later. So you can, if there is no time, because we are not supposed to eat after 12, so we have to consume, we can take the food and consume it and then do the duties later. That's also possible. If the attendants do not require them, the attending monks, okay, there are two types of attendants, either the regular residential attendant or a visiting monk who do the attending. And if there are no attendants, if the attendants are not in need of such food, then considering that what belongs to the father belongs to his son, any bhikkhu who wishes may take them. If the attendants are not using them, yes, any monk can take it, because we are the sons of the Buddha, so we are allowed to use what belongs to the Buddha, right, if he is not using it. If there is no bhikkhu to take them, it appears that there is no fault, even a lay devotee takes them. So he is very careful in using these terms. Even the Sinhalese, in the Sinhalese book, he haven't said it very directly, but he said it appears based on the knowledge, based on the fundamentals. If a bhikkhu can take it, if a bhikkhu can consume it, because we are also disciples of the Buddha, and monks should be given the priority, and there is no doubt about it. But if monks are not in need of, anyone should take it. So it doesn't seem like, if it is not a sin for the monks to eat what belongs to the Buddha, and we take it and consume it, it obviously appears as that even a lay person eating it would not cause a sin. So he is very careful. He is not giving a direct answer, but even I myself agrees. I also feel like to agree with it, because I don't see a logic why it would be a sin for a lay person to consume that food while a monk is allowed to do that. Right? So it's not because of our sila. Yes, we are considered there as children, but if we don't want it and we are going to discard it, instead of discarding it, yeah, we would obviously give it to an animal. Animals will come and eat it, and we are obviously, for example, a beggar would not know what type of food this is, and if it was offered to a beggar and he would eat it, no, I don't think there can be any sin in that. Right? So there is no bhikkhu to take them. If there is no bhikkhu to take them, it appears that there is no fault, even a lay devotee takes them. Food and drink offered must certainly be removed from that place to clean the altars. It's obviously, the altar has to be cleaned, and so it has to be removed. There is no argument. Even though it belongs to the Buddha, it has to be removed. It has to be discarded at one stage. If such food and drink are to be discarded and the attendants do not take them, then it seems that taking them by anyone whatsoever does not constitute a fault. Now he is justifying his statement, because it has to be discarded, and the priority in the hierarchy or list of hierarchy, the attendant monks should take it, then the monks can take it. If they are not taking it, and if it is to be discarded, it's obvious that someone consuming it would not be fault at all, right? So, poor travelers, beggars and others who consume discarded food offered to the Buddha incur no demerit thereby. So, he says that if it is given to a beggar, if it is given to someone, a poor person who is in need of, sometimes in some monasteries I have seen it is given to the workers in the monasteries, so who are working, yes, we do it in some monasteries. So, in such cases, Mahathera says, yes, obviously, it cannot incur a fault, incur a offense, right? If there is anything that can be used for the benefit of the shrine or the Bodhi tree in the monastery, it should be used for that purpose alone and should not be taken even by the attendants. So, these stuff, even the attendants are not allowed to take, because these can be used within the monastery, within the shrine and so forth. Stealing property that belongs to the Buddha is a grave offense. That's another point. Now, stealing, taking away something that belongs to the Buddha, knowing that it belongs to the Buddha, is not a good act, right? This is the point. Sometimes you may get a question like, what happens now? In some sutras, Buddha has said, now some food was offered to the Buddha, he had rejected them, and he said, now what to do with this food? What to do with this food? So then the Buddha says, yes, put it into a place where there's no animals or water, where there's no fish, or bury it under the soil. Because he says, I don't see anyone who could consume this food and digest it properly, because it was a food offered to the Buddha and he has rejected it. He has rejected it. This appears in few sutras. He says, Appanake udakeva opilapeya. So just dilute it, or just let it flow or just put it into a food on a water, into a water where there's no creatures, or just like bury it or to do something. So he goes and put it into water without animals, without visible animals actually. So then it would make a certain sound, chit-chitayati, chitty-chitayati, sandupayati, the smoke comes out and the people get so astonished seeing that what happens to this food. And this, when you see the sutras, it appears that normally he rejects such food if it is being offered after him giving a Dhamma talk. So that's the procedure. Normally after giving a Dhamma talk and pleasing the people, if the people get like faith or delighted about the preaching, and if they think of offering some food to the Buddha, he normally rejects it, because it's not because he have preached the Dhamma in order to get the food, but society could easily accuse him because he was preaching the Dhamma in order to get the food. So in order to avoid this accusation, because the people who would accuse will also get great demerit by accusing the Buddha, he normally doesn't do that. So that's the custom in all the offerings that we are making. If you have noticed in monasteries, at houses, whether you are offering food items or whether you are offering monasteries or kutis, whatever offering is made, normally in the ceremonies the offering is done first and then the Dhamma talk is given. Some people have an argument here. Shouldn't it be that we give the Dhamma talk first and make the person's mind happier, because he's going to offer it, because we are not asking for it. So if we say the benefits of this offering, if we say what are the great benefits, so his wisdom, samadhi would get strengthened, and then he can make an offering with a greater wisdom. Shouldn't it be that we preach the benefits of the offering first and then the offering should be done later? But the custom is, as soon as the ceremony starts, giving sila and starting the ceremony, the first function would be to offer the food. And then the Dhamma talk is given at a later, at a second stage, after food has been consumed, or after the building has been offered. The reason is this Buddha's custom, because he normally doesn't accept the food that was offered after he had given a Dhamma talk, because it could amount to a social criticism. It could have amounted to a social criticism, triggered a social criticism, saying that Samana Gotama used to eat food after giving Dhamma talks, and someone can easily argue that one of his purposes in giving such talks and making them disciples is to get the requisites. So he left no room for that accusation. So that's why he would reject such food, and that's the custom that monks are following. So that's how the Dhamma talk practice was given. Bhattagavatta means the duties a monk should do in the dining hall. Bhatta is food, agga is house. It means, we normally say in Sinhala, dange. Dange means where the house or the place where food is offered. So, Bhattagavatta, we are supposed to give a Dhamma talk after the lunch, after the meal, and it has to be done after the meal, not before the meal. We normally don't give the Dhamma talk before the meal, because no one would say anything these days, but it would amount to the fact that it can easily lead to a social criticism those days, and even today in some countries where people don't have that understanding that these monks are preaching the Dhamma talk and then they are getting the food. Because in the Dhamma talk we may keep on praising this dana. Now for instance, imagine this, if I kept on praising, offering such and such food gives you great merit, giving the references from the sutta. Sometimes the devotee might think, okay, I don't have this food in this offering, please bring that particular food and we are going to offer that. And this gives us a lot of embarrassment. We say, okay, since I have taught this, now listen to this talk. The devotee is making new initiatives to make the offering. So what we do normally is let the devotee perform his offering, dana first. Let him do it at his will. We are not interfering. We are not giving any hints on this. After the person has offered, yes, thank you for the offering, and these are the benefits that you get. So that's the custom. So in some places, if you want to leave, in very rare occasions, if you want to leave the house early, or if you're in a rush, because it's not a training rule, it's not a Vinaya rule that we must give Dhamma talk after the meal. That's the custom, that's the duty, that's the custom or the tradition that has been followed. But in some cases, even we have done in very rare occasions, if it is impossible for us to manage the time, we normally give the Dhamma talk first and then have the meal and immediately leave. But that is done in a very in situations where we have no options at all. The custom is, in a particular ceremony, we never do that. We normally make the offering, let the devotees make the offering and then do the Anumodana talk. Even when they are offering such valuable items such as monasteries, buildings and so forth. So now Buddha's rejection of such food, it appears that in sutras, it has appeared in few sutras that after he had rejected such food and he himself has claimed that no one is capable, anyatra tathagatava tathagata savakava, or something like that, and others are not, beyond the Buddha and Buddha's disciples, others would not be able to consume this and digest this. And that's a very special occasion actually. That's a very, very special thing, because it appears only to the food that was offered to him and it has been rejected by him. But after he has accepted the food, the leftover food, we can consume. It's very clear in the Dhammadayada Sutta. Buddha has said this, even it's mentioned in this lesson as well. Buddha says, imagine a situation where I have consumed the food and there's something left over, and someone comes and I ask the monks, yes, because they came without receiving any food, and there's enough time to consume food, and the Buddha would say, monks, there is some leftover food that I have consumed, that was my food, something that I received, so there's no doubt in it, purified food. The Buddha would never take something inappropriate. So if you wish, you can consume this and spend your day. Then he gives the invitation. Then the monks, one monk would consume it and spend the day. The other monk would think, okay, I'm not looking for the inheritance of gain or the requisites from the Buddha. I want to be a higher of the Dhamma only. So then one would reject that food and practice being hungry, other one would consume and practice. The Buddha say the prior, the one who rejects and practice is more praiseworthy than the other one. Other one is not doing any sin. It's not a fault. If he wants, he can consume it, and it's in a commentarial statement. I remember our Mahathera once told us, should be in a commentarial story. Venerable King Bimbisara once came to meet the Buddha, and there was some food left over, and he had the smell, because normally divine beings include divine essences, food essences into the Buddha's food. So it had a very strong aroma. So the King Bimbisara wanted to eat the food, and Buddha asked Venerable Ananda or someone to give that food to King Bimbisara, and he ate it. So there is no sin in eating the food left over by the Buddha. The only thing, when he had rejected the food while it's been offered, it is mentioned in sutras that others, normal people, normal beings are not allowed to, cannot digest that food. And it's also the living Buddha, not a Buddha who has already attained parinibbana. Right, so that also we should keep it in mind, and otherwise this question can arise in you. Now, thing is, yes, we are allowed to eat according to Mahathera. Yeah, obviously according to commentaries, attending monk can eat. A monk who comes to the monastery newly, do the attending, do the cleaning and eat it. If there's no time, with the intention of cleaning later time, we can consume it. Or otherwise, if there's no attendants are not in need, yes, any monk can take it and consume. And Mahathera says, if they are to be discarded, there's no offense in giving it to a lay person, so he can consume it. So it means like now when you are cleaning the altar at home, when you are taking food away, you are taking the food away to clean the thing, right? And then you are allowed to consume it. You are allowed to give it to a beggar, you are allowed to give it to animals, to your pet, or even you yourself, the devotees, can consume it. Although there is no fault for attendants in taking food and drink offered to the Buddha, refraining from taking them and merely performing the duties is praiseworthy. That's another thing. Whether it's a sin according to Mahathera, no. Because if you, for example, if you go and consider at the stealing mind, sometimes some children go and steal the food that was offered to the Buddha and consume. This is pure stealing. Because what we are doing here is, first you have the idea that I'm taking away, because I have the intention of cleaning the altar, right? So it has to be discarded. You have to consider whether the Buddha have consumed or he has not consumed, whatever. He has not rejected it, right? So, and he's not alive as well. So we have to take it away. With the cleaning mind, we take it away and then we consume. That's a different case. But if someone had the intention or the mind of just taking it from the Buddha, this is a sin. This is a sin. It should not be done. It should not be done. So normally we keep some time. Yes, we allocate some time. Feels like, okay, it's enough. There's not no specific time actually, but normally we keep it for half an hour, maybe 30-40 minutes to the time it takes for a monk to consume a meal. And then when we are cleaning the bowls of the monks, we also remove the Buddha Puja. And that can be consumed. That's what the Mahathera's argument. Although there is no fault for attendants in taking food and drinks offered to the Buddha, refraining from taking them and merely performing the duties is praiseworthy. There is not much value in performing duties while enjoying the material requisites that are given to the Buddha. Because obviously, if you keep it as a custom, or if you get used to eat the food that is offered to the Buddha, in your subconscious or in your mind, back of your mind, you feel like I'm going to consume this, and it's very difficult to get rid of the idea that you are doing the duties and you are getting the food that is being offered to him. So that it's very difficult to have a completely pure mind. Yes, we can have that wholesome mind, but we know I'm benefiting out of this attending. It's not that it's not about benefiting with great merit, but I'm also benefiting from the requisites or the food that is given to him. So just doing mere duties without any expectation about the food that is offered to the Buddha is greater, is praiseworthy. Obviously, that makes sense. The elder Ananda attended upon the Tathagata for 25 years. Ananda Thera did the duties to the Buddha for 25 years. He did not accept any material gains that accrued the Buddha. So, accrued the Buddha. So when whatever the merits that were accumulated in Buddha to the Buddha, he never took them. He accepted the position of attendant only after obtaining permission from the Buddha not to accept the fine robes and alms food offered to the Buddha. If some meals were offered, delicious meals or robes were offered, if the Buddha would give it to them, he would say, no, you cannot give it to me. I'm not going to accept it. Right? Even though I'm your attendant, yes, you will feel gratitude towards me. So it's natural when, for example, any monk, if he receives some extra requisites, the first thought that comes to him is, to whom should I offer? To the attending monks. And that's the same thought the Buddha had. After the enlightenment, he thought, to whom should I preach this Dhamma? Yes, first Alara Kala Muddakaram Buddha, they helped him as a Bodhisattva. Yes, not to his enlightenment, but after his renunciation, they helped him to attain jhanas, and they were teachers, and they had suppressed the defilements for a longer period, and he thought they would easily understand this Dhamma. Unfortunately, they had passed away by then, and then the thought came, there were group of 5 monks who attended me, who helped me during the self-mortification period, and they also have abandoned sensual pleasure. They had become monks for a longer period, and they have practiced their monk silas, the Pabbajja sila for a long period, and they were helpful to me. So he thought of teaching Dhamma to them first. So that's the natural gratitude that we have. Normally, it also happened, once it happened to Venerable Ananda as well. He received, I think, 500 or some great amount of robes. Or he was regularly receiving some robes. So somehow, a big amount of robes at one time or at different occasions, somehow he gave it to one particular monk. Most of the requisites were given to that monk. Then the monks started criticizing why Ananda is favoring, because he had a higher position in Sasana, he was the closest to the Buddha, he was attending the Buddha, and he had 5 titles as a great disciple, unlike any other disciple. So he was a role model for many, and why is he just favoring one single monk? Shouldn't he distribute these extra requisites to many other monks who are in need? And when this accusation came, Buddha called, summoned Venerable Ananda and asked, is it true that you are favoring one single monk? And he said, yes, I do favor one single monk, and with the purpose, because I'm attending you. I'm quite a busy monk, and I have a very tight schedule. He did attend the Buddha, and he also taught Dhamma to monks, and he also preached Dhamma to bhikkhunis. Especially, he was very much loved or liked by bhikkhunis, because he used to support them a lot. Even they respected, because he was the one who was pioneer in this discussion that facilitated this bhikkhuni sasana, that he convinced the Buddha to give the sasana to the bhikkhunis. So bhikkhunis liked him a lot, and he helped them very much. He preached them very much, and he had a lot of compassion towards the bhikkhunis. And also he helped the monks. He taught the monks very much, and he was liked by devotees, because devotees, when they wanted to attend the Buddha, to meet Buddha, the first what they do is they meet Venerable Ananda. That's normally what happens if someone wants to meet a senior Mahathera. Instead of directly going to him, we would talk with his attendant monk. So he was a very busy monk, and also he had to look into the monasteries and see the issues the monks were having and bring those issues, problems to the Buddha. If someone is sick, if someone is having an issue, he's the one who conveyed these messages to the Buddha. And he also took care of the Buddha. It is mentioned that he didn't sleep for these 25 years, and he was circumambulating the Buddha's kuti 9 times every night, and he also had the duty of memorizing the entire teachings of the Buddha. And that's why that was a very busy schedule. Compared to the busy schedule that Venerable Ananda had, we are having nothing, I would feel. But and he did them very, very accurately. He never had excuses that he's so busy that he would start forgetting things like us. No, and he managed things very well. But still, so the duties were very huge, and attending the Buddha, the most difficult task. Difficult means most responsible task. Buddha's health. He had to take care of Buddha's health. He had to take care of how the Buddha is seen by the others. Even Buddha could stand by himself as a glorious person, and Ananda also played some role there, and how he is being seen by the others, and when to attend, what is the proper time for a lay devotee to attend him, what is the proper time for monks to attend him. So and when is the proper time to invite, because sometimes monks would convey the message to Venerable Ananda saying, we would prefer to get a Dhamma talk from the Buddha, and would go and ask the Buddha at a proper time. He cannot just go and casually ask. He would wait for the exact time, go to the Buddha and ask him and convey the message the monks are interested in making such a listen to Dhamma talk. Then Buddha would say, okay, prepare such a place. So I would give a Dhamma talk. In some occasions, Buddha had the interest to give a special Dhamma talk to the monks. So he would convey the message to Venerable Ananda. He is the middleman here. So he was such a busy person, and that's why he couldn't attain arahantship while the Buddha was alive. It's obvious. I don't think he would have time to meditate properly. And still he did his meditation. He did his meditation, but not to the level of fully dedicated to attain the arahanta or higher maggas. I think surely he would have attained palasamapatti time to time with all the mindfulness he could maintain. So anyhow, he was such a so he was fully focused on the Buddha's duties and things around him. So what about his own duties? He was also of the same age with the Buddha, and he was born on the same day the Bodhisattva was born. So when the Buddha was getting into 70s, Buddha was getting into 60s, 70s, and Venerable Ananda was also getting into the same age. And he would also need, obviously, such an attendance. So there were monks who were willing to help Venerable Ananda, who saw the role played by Ananda. Venerable Sariputta was the one who knew the gravity of this work. He also had some sort of I wouldn't say a guilty feeling, I would say sort of a gratitude, and also some sort of a responsibility about Venerable Ananda's duties, because Venerable Sariputta used to think, I am the chief disciple of the Buddha, all the duties of the father should belong to the chief son and the chief disciple, all the duties of the teacher belongs to the chief disciple, as all the duties of the father belongs to the eldest son. So it's my duty. So when the Buddha was hinting that he needs a permanent attendant, Venerable Sariputta was the first to stand and say, I would do the attending. Buddha said, no, you are not supposed to do that. You have different duties. You are like a big tree in the sasana. You have different, it's not your duty to attend me. You have much greater tasks in taking care of this sasana. And rejected him. He rejected. And Buddha would normally reject the attending of an arahant. And also, I think that also another thing to discuss, like normally if Arahant was attending, he would not have that love towards the Buddha, because he had eradicated. He'll respect, the Arahant would respect the Buddha, but there cannot be an attachment, it's impossible. But a Sotapanna, who would not act like a Putujjana, so it's obvious, sure that he would not do certain akusala kammas. He had his he has his qualities, and he cannot perform evil deeds, or it's impossible that he would change his faith like Sunakatta did. So Buddha would always get the attendance, permanent attendance from a noble being, and it should be a Sotapanna, because he has not eradicated all the family. So it starts to mix with the love, care, and everything. With the faith, he has strong faith, the Buddha. At the same time, he had that feeling of belongingness to the Buddha. He didn't hurt other monks. He didn't act very foolishly, like completely possessing him, but it was a very nice mixture. So he loved him very much. He took care of him so much. At the same time, and he had the faith, he had the respect, he knew his space, he knew the space that should be given to the Buddha. So he was really doing the work very well. So Sariputta knew that. Even though he was rejected and he has different duties, he still kept it in his mind that Venerable Ananda is doing all these duties that originally belongs to me. I am able to attend this different places in the sasana, sometime to spend time in seclusion, be a role model to the sangha, advise the sangha, do all these duties because Ananda is taking care of Buddha's duties, Buddha's work. So he had such gratitude towards Ananda. So whenever he receives a new robe, whenever he receives a new patta or ball, he always thinks the first priority thought comes to Sariputta is to offer it to Venerable Ananda. So when Sariputta is staying away from the Buddha, and if one monk is attending that monastery where the Buddha is living, he would make sure that tell that monk, pay respect to the Buddha, ask his health, pay respect on behalf of me, and then go to Venerable Ananda, ask about his health, and convey my regards to him. He always does that. So Venerable Sariputta knew the role played by Ananda. He had such gratitude towards him. So some monks, I think most of the Theras would have felt that in Ananda. So some monks used to do his attending. They supported him. Supported him is in turn supporting the Buddha indirectly, because when he has been well taken care of, he will be able to take care of the Buddha very well. So there was one monk who used to wash Ananda's robes, who used to clean Ananda's kuti. And while he is attending the Buddha's work, his personal work were taken care by some other monk. And one monk was pioneering. He was fully attending Venerable Ananda's duties, knowing his great responsibility. So Venerable Ananda had such gratitude towards this young monk. So what happened? Whenever he receives new requisites, robes, he would give it to him. So other monks felt it as some favorism. So when the issue came, Buddha asked, is it true that you are favoring one monk? He said, yes, I'm not. It's not like I'm giving it to him. Because of the gratitude, I'm able to take care of you, Venerable Sir, because my work has been taken care by that particular monk. So I have so much gratitude towards him, even though he's young. So whenever I receive some extra stuff, I have a customer, I'm used to give it to him. Buddha said, yes, this is a great work, great thought, a great attribute of Venerable Ananda. And he preached a Jataka saying that Venerable Ananda was such, even in his past lives, not only in this life. He used to do that. He has a person who had strong gratitude towards the people who have supported him. So therefore, it's natural that we would give that things to the attending monk. But Venerable Ananda knew that Buddha would also have that feeling. Yes, surely he is a person who knows the value of gratitude more than anyone else. Surely Buddha would direct his extra offerings, and he would surely give some extra attention to Venerable Ananda. Surely he did it to Venerable Rahula because he was very helpful to him in samsara. He did it to he surely did it to Venerable Ananda, because then he also gave advice to Ananda, personal advice at his demise, and encouraged him. Even while Venerable Ananda was crying, he consoled him, and he told about his future, his capacities, his future arahanthood, and also he consoled him. So Buddha also had a lot of attention towards Ananda. So Ananda knew that if I start doing this attending, and he had the confidence that he would do it perfectly, and he had come for 100,000 eons with the purpose of being a Buddha's attendant, which is a very vital role in the sasana. So he knew he would do it perfectly, and he had the capacity to do it very well, and Buddha would surely treat him, give him some special attention. And Buddha is a person who would receive so much requisites because of his past merits. And obviously, the one who would benefit mostly would be Venerable Ananda. And if this happens, Venerable Ananda thought the monks would start accusing me, because I'm doing my attending with the expectation of gain. So from the very first moment, when he was asked, or he applied, or he took the position of an attendant of the Buddha permanent, he said, no. If only you are not pushing me, or if you are not giving me the extra robes or the meals or valuable robes or meals that are offered to you, if you are not directing to me, if you are not asking to me accept, yes, only then I will accept it. And I should not be allowed to sleep in the same room with you. Should not be allowed to sleep. So he asked for 4 rejections and also for allowance. I should be able to, you should be given me to come to you at any time if there is a question in Dhamma, if I want to clarify something, I should be able to come and clarify it immediately. And I should be given the permission to know the time when to meet for the devotees, when to meet the Buddha, and I should be able to have that permission to bring them when I feel is the suitable time. He would know the proper time, but he should be given that key, or he should be given that authority to so he asked some allowances, and also he rejected for I would say possible gains that he would receive. So that's what it is mentioned here. He accepted the position of attendant only after obtaining permission from the Buddha not to accept the fine robes and alms food offered to the Buddha. May the bhikkhus who guard and look after the offerings at monasteries take the conduct of the Thera Ananda as their model. Yes, it is something that we have to think, because Venerable Ananda, while the Buddha was alive, didn't consume the food that was given to the Buddha, didn't accept the robes that were given to the Buddha. So when we are attending Bodhi trees or Buddha statues or relics, we are allowed to eat that food to be discarded, but it's better not to do that. That's what Mahathira is saying. Right. Then although the requisites offered to the Buddha belong to the bhikkhus as the sons of the Buddha, the Tathagata has declared in the Dhammadayada Sutta, Dhammadayada me bhikkhave bhavata ma amisadayada. Bhikkhus, be heirs to my Dhamma. Do not be heirs to my material, material things, right? Possessions. Indicating it is better for bhikkhus to be heirs of Dhamma rather than heirs to material gain. Moreover, in the very sutta, the Tathagata states that between two bhikkhus, one who quenches his hunger by eating the leftover food that remains after the Buddha has finished his meal, and another who does not eat it and spends the day fasting, the bhikkhu who refrains from consuming the Buddha's leftovers is praiseworthy. Who restrain from eating the leftover food is more praiseworthy. For these reasons, it should be said that it is good for all bhikkhus to live while abstaining from enjoying the material requisites that accrue the Buddha. So it should be said to the lay people as well. Yes, you are offering foods at house. It's better. It seems there is no sin in consuming them when you are going to discard them. It's better that you don't consume it. You can give it to a pet, or to maybe to birds or animals, or maybe to the ones who are in need, such as beggars and so forth. But better not to consume this, because otherwise you will not have that pure, it's difficult to have that pure mind while you are making the offering, because in the back of your mind you will know, I'm going to consume this if it is a very tasty food. So it's advised that not to consume, even though it seems there is no offense in consuming the food that should be discarded that should be discarded otherwise. Right, anyways. So then the next point is now how to deal with them. Before I go to the next question, I would like to take time on these things. What are the stable stuff? Robes, gems and so forth. We are not allowed to take them. We are not allowed to give it to someone. And even the oil, ghee and oil should not be taken or should not be consumed, because it can be used. So what is the purpose? For what purpose ghee and oil can be used? To light lamps, to make it nice at night. It would finish. So, but you can do some Buddha puja, aloka puja, or light puja to the Buddha for a few days, or maybe at night. Then what about things such as robes and so forth? They have to be utilized for the purpose of Buddha's shrines, or the images, or whatever which represents the Buddha. Yeah, sometimes you can make them as flags, or one can make a sort of a carpet or a pavada on which one can walk upon, as a pavada to the Buddha. In that case, we should not be walking on that if it is made for that. Or maybe a carpet. Carpet means not for us to wipe the feet, but to decorate his altar, or to keep his statue upon it. Or sometimes to make a sort of we call roof sort of, I forget the English term for that. So vitana is like sometimes we make something as a hood, so the dirt doesn't fall on the Buddha statue. So it has to be used for such purposes. It should not be used as a carpet for us to wipe the feet. For surely it should not be done, but it has to be used for the purpose of the Buddha statue and so forth. So if it is not possible, now if there's enough robes, if there's enough such items, what we can do is sometimes we can, people can wisely or correctly, if lay people, they can directly sell it and get the requisites or get the money and use that money maybe to paint the shrine room, or to buy some lamps, oil, and then light lamps with that oil, or to buy some flowers and make a flower puja to the Buddha. So it has to be utilized for the purpose of the Buddha. That's something very interesting. So we should not, if a robe is offered to the Buddha statue or the Buddha shrine or a chaitya, we should not be using it for our purpose. It's very important. Should not be doing that. It has to be utilized. It can be converted into money. Yes, it can be sold, and with that money, and that money belongs to the Buddha actually. You know, it should be dedicated to the Buddha. You cannot use it for your own purpose. That money has to be used for the purpose of the shrine. Maybe to light the shrine, or to give some light to the kuti where the Buddha's shrines are, Buddha statue is there, or to maybe to put some sort of maybe we call sand around it. Yes, such things can, to paint it. In that regard, one can argue, you can make a carpet, so we want it won't make the thing dirty. Something one can argue on that, yes, but it seems like sometimes it's possible for use such purpose if it is done with that purpose, in order to protect the shrine, to prevent it from getting dirty. Yes, for whatever purposes that are directed or beneficial for that shrine or the pagoda or the Bodhi tree, we have to use that. We have to utilize those things for that purposes only. So after it gets decayed, yes, we have to throw it away. If we can use it, or even a decayed thing, we can mix it with something and plaster or with clay. These days we don't do such things. If they decayed, and if such things are out of use, yes, then out of use means if they get decayed and so forth, yes, we can use them to throw. We have to throw them away, but we should try to use them as much as possible. Maybe to wipe the Buddha. Sometimes clothes can be used to wipe the Buddha statue, and also in order to, it has to be utilized as much as possible for the purpose of the Buddha. So it's very, very interesting, very mindfully we have to do that. We should not be, because if something is offered to the Buddha, it belongs to him. We are not free to use it as we want. And then sometimes in ancient days, some kings and the rich people used to offer jewelry to some Buddha stupas, to the Bodhi trees, or maybe to Buddha statues. One of the purposes is it's offering made to the Buddha, obviously. And what is the use with that for the Buddha? Actually, when later stages, when the pagoda is falling down, or it's been attacked, or it decays, those jewelry can be taken by the ones who are looking after the pagodas, and they can sell it and get the money and reconstruct the pagoda. That's possible. That is one of the purposes why kings enshrine such valuable things. It's an offering made to the Buddha, and that can be used to protect the dhatu and the shrine and so forth. So such treasures can be used in proper ways. But if someone steals them and use for their own purpose, it's a very bad sin. It's a sin that, you can get some sort of pardon by going to such place and asking for forgiveness, maybe repaying the value that you have taken. Those are very, very great sins actually. So, but they can, such jewelry and valuable things can be utilized properly for the purpose of the stupa and so forth. So that's the point here. So such stable stuff like robes, jewelry, gems, and has to be utilized properly, and items such as ghee, oil, and so forth must be used for purposes such as lighting lamps and so forth, right? And these things can be, especially things such as robes, sometimes at the parikanas are offered, they can be sold, and with that money one can make a flower offering or whatever good pujas can be done. If monks are doing it, they have to follow the Vinaya rules, because we are allowed to use such requisites for our purposes. If we have abandon of requisites may be given to monks or someone's personal belongings, we can ask the kapiyas to exchange them properly, and they can say, I'm not in need of these requisites, but I'm in need of such and such items, robes, or maybe allowable requisites, whatever, or some kind of books or whatever equipment, electronic equipment. Yes, I need such things. So he can give it to the kapiya, and he can get it. He can sell it, because we are not selling it directly. He can do it, and then he can offer the required item to the monk. Right? It's possible. It's possible. But unfortunately, what is happening is monks are directly selling and buying, which is not allowed in Vinaya. But normally, it can be done in other means. Like even we can go to the go to the shop. To that extent, we can go to the shop, keep the requisite on the desk, and say, yes, I have this requisite. I am not in need of this, but I'm in need of a robe. So at that time, a monk cannot accept the money. If the owner is willing to give that, yes. If we say, take this and give this, that is an offense. That is an offense. It's called kaya vikya. We cannot do exchange things like in the barter system. I give this, please give me this. So this is an offense. But if we say, I have such thing and I'm not in need of this, but I'm in need of such and such thing, if the shopkeeper understands and he just give it by taking our requisite, is allowable for us to take. But we should make sure that the exchange is some sort of that no one is getting any extra benefits, or it's not like someone is losing something because of that exchange. But if the shop owner is willing to give some valuable stuff, taking such thing, that's his wish. But we should not be stealing. We should not be deceiving the person and saying that this is more valuable than what it deserves and do the exchange. No, it's not nice. So yes, so therefore, if things are offered to the Buddha's shrine in a temple, monks, the attending monks or abbot can and follow the Vinaya procedures and get the allowable requisites through it, and then support the shrine or the bodhi. It's possible. So that's it. So I think that's a very interesting topic that we discussed. Yeah, next topic, I think I will take the whole session next time. What is more praiseworthy, offering to a beggar who is in need while you are taking the Buddha puja to the temple, or just continuing and offering that to the Buddha who is not alive? So it's another interesting, controversial discussion. So I'll be talking about that next day, because if I just take it just 10 minutes, I don't think that question can be it's not giving that justice to that question. So it has to be discussed in detail and talking what would be the better approach in dealing, or when you are going to make a Buddha puja. So I would conclude the session today, and we have already discussed 13 questions. There is another 87 to be discussed. Okay, we'll see how it goes. So for the time being, yes, it's done, and anyone is welcome to ask questions. Yes.
And now we will proceed with the questions and answer session. And please use the raise hand feature to ask your questions. Mr. Kumar Singh, I think you have raised your hand. You can proceed with the question.
Yeah, I was having a problem with to unmute. Most Venerable Bhante, I have a couple of questions. One thing is, we have been to Sri the last couple of days and we were doing some offerings to the stupa. But the question was arising always since you are practicing the like kind of meditation on basic materials like solid, liquid, air, heat, something, you know. So when you're going to offer something to relics, not to a live human being as Supreme Buddha, but it's difficult to make up mind, you know, offering, always coming to mind as, you know, like you're offering something to the, which is dead, I mean, kind of, you know, the materials. How to make up mind, you know. Instead of, you know, doing these offerings, if we invest time on studying or practicing meditation or studying Dhamma, isn't it with what real Buddha's preaching and advices and the real investment of this? This is the first question, sir.
No, it's, the second question is two things. Buddha has never said not to do Amisa Puja. He has praised Patipatti, but he himself as a Bodhisattva had done it so many times. So I would never say that one should stop Amisa Puja and instead should be doing meditation and studies only, because they both have different benefits. And I don't think it's a question to be discussed much, because Amisa Puja is beneficial for the people because it arouses a lot of qualities, a lot of good habits and good qualities within the person. So there is no discussion in Theravada whether Amisa Puja should not be done and only Patipatti Puja should be done. No, there is no such a thing. Even Arahants would do that, and even there are many stories which says that how such Amisa Pujas have helped people to directly attain the liberation by the merits that they have accumulated, that the qualities they have accumulated, especially the thought of giving up, volition of dana and so forth. Yes. Then regarding the perception, yes, if you are unable to have the perception of the Buddha to a relic, just offer it to the relics. That's simple as that. Because when you are paying respect to the relics, you are paying respect to the relics actually. So some are able to imagine the Buddha in that place. I think I have given that discourse in number 4 discourse of the Dhammavinicchaya in our lecture series. Yeah, so some are able to, if these are the relics, one are able to imagine that the Buddha who is alive, as the Buddha is alive, representing with these relics. But actually the merit is gained for offering the relics actually, because they are the ones that are actually there. So if you are unable to consider, like have that perception of the Buddha, what you are supposed to do is to offer things to the relics, pay homage to the relics, offer the flowers to the relics and so forth. If for the Bodhi tree, you are doing it to the tree actually, offering it to the Bodhi tree, there is a sacred tree. And regarding his robes and so forth, we are offering and respecting his robes and so forth, the Paribhogika Chetiyas. And then Uddesika Chetiyas, we don't have anything related to him because the relics were directly from his body, which has much closer connection with his wisdom and his life. Then the Paribhogikas are external stuff, not his body parts. So they also have some connection. And then other than that, yes, we just imagine him with our mind. There's nothing connected to him but sort of a Buddha statue or something made out of some material stuff, and we make the connection with our mind because there's no actually something connected to the Buddha. So then the question comes, if sometimes we pay respect to the relics which are not real relics, then you don't get the merit of offering relics actually. Obviously not. It has to be true relics. Otherwise you are not going to get the real benefits of offering relics. So that's why people sometimes do consider certain things as relics. They say if you have the mind of relics, yes, then you get the kusala chitta, but you don't get the actual merit of offering the relics. It has to be true relics. Otherwise Otherwise, it's, for example, someone pay respect to Nigantanathaputta considering he's the Buddha, but he's offering some food to the Nigantanathaputta because he has, imagine someone who has heard about the Buddha and he misunderstand Nigantanathaputta as the Buddha, and he offers the food to him, and he is getting merits for offering Nigantanathaputta, not the Buddha. He had the mind of the Buddha, that's a different case. So therefore, in order to get the merits of offering the Buddha, he has to actually offer the Buddha. At the same time, if someone is paying respect to some material stuff, thinking it's merit, and if they are not the relics, thinking they are relics, but if they are not the relics, he's not getting the merits of offering the relics actually. He's just getting the merits of offering the Buddha, like it's sort of a Uddesika type. Yeah, so he does get the merits, but it's not complete as offering to the true relics. So therefore, if someone is unable to get that perception of the Buddha, some people can easily do that. Some people, if it is difficult, then you have to offer to that relic, thinking that is the relic. If he's unable to consider the Buddha statue as a living Buddha, then he has to offer to the Buddha statue, thinking this is representing the Buddha. So that's what we have to do in that case.
I think Mr. Kumar, you have another question, sir.
In fact, again, it was not possible to unmute. I did it myself. So the second question is, in fact, before we offering anything, any like a tasty food or one of the best food to Supreme Buddha, if we know that it is eatable, edible after offering, we can take it after 30 minutes or 1 hour. So I think we'll have kind of a greed in our mind, and we cannot really letting it go by kind of offering. Even myself, I myself have experienced this long back, but while offering, if we know that it is edible after 3 minutes, that we cannot really let it go. Is it it's great kind of greed by looking at some tasty food?
It depends on the person. It depends on some people can do it. Some people can do it. Some people cannot. That's the point. If someone has a very strong mind, like if someone is not really into such things, then you can easily, if it is there, I would eat it, otherwise I would not eat it. And if you can completely dedicate to the Buddha without considering about what he's going to eat in 30 minutes, they can do it. But for many people, it may be an issue that thought can come. That's why Mahathera is saying it's better not to do that. So you cannot say that it's not possible. It's possible for people, even though they know they are going to eat it. They can just fully offer it, because if someone comes and if someone comes and if a monk comes, they can offer it. So he can have no expectation on that. It's possible. So therefore, it can be done. But since for many, as you said, that issue can happen, because if they keep on doing that for some time, that the second thought may start appearing that I'm going to eat it, then the greediness can come, it can develop. So that's why Mahathera is saying not to do that in that sense. So always better to have no expectations about the Buddha's food. So just make the direct offering.
Thank you very much, Bhante. Much very good.
Theravada.
So there is another question has been shared. Sir, can I read it? It is in the present time we observe this is with regard to the relic Swaminathan. We have observed the way which the Bezappan of all the Arhat relics are displayed, and how should we recognize these relics as belonging to the Bezappan or to the Arahants? And also when worshipping these relics, should we do with the understanding of they belong to the Bezappan or the Arahants?
There is no specific. It's difficult to distinguish, but some measurements have been given in the books. I think we are going to have that question in a future lecture. How to distinguish whether the relic belongs to the Buddha or not. Arahant relics, we don't have any clue whether we don't have any like recognizing traits of that. But Buddha's relics have been explained in the, I think in Mahaparinibbana Sutta, I think, yeah, some, or maybe it's commentary, I forgot. So it's mentioned in the literature actually. So based on that, some Mahatheras are saying, okay, this could be Buddha's relics, and what we can say is we can't exactly say it's a Buddha's relic unless there's a historical recording with it. Normally what we can say is it's not a Buddha's relic, okay, something is not a Buddha's relic, and would say, okay, this may be possibly, it could be a Buddha's relic, yeah. So unless it's been historically proven as such. So and what has happened is some of the relics have been spread all over the world now, and obviously most of the relics that are present in the world claim to be Buddha are not Buddha's relics. Obviously not, surely not. The majority is not the Buddha's real relics. So normally, in my opinion, when I get some relics, I would always trace how the source and so forth, and only if there is a at least slight possibility, if the ancient thing, if it is has relation with some ancient lineage, or if it was taken from a very old site where such things are possible, and if it had shown some miraculous something has happened, yes, then I would consider of accepting and paying respect to it. It's still Arahant relics could also have such miraculous things, but it's not compulsory that such miracles would happen with regard to all the relics. So therefore, it's very difficult to recognize exactly whether it's whether it's a Buddha's relic or not, unless someone has the divine psychic powers to trace with the Pubbē Nivāsa Jnana and consider from where this has come. Otherwise, it's not easy. So we will be discussing this question in a future lesson. What are the traits or signs to recognize Buddha's relics, and is it a sin to steal Buddha's relics and so forth? We are going to discuss on this.
It's not a choice. Shall we end the session?
Okay. Yeah, if there are no questions, we can.
Yeah, because there are some questions with regard to the future relics. I think it's better for us to proceed after the next lesson or something else.
Okay. Okay, then we'll conclude. Yeah, thank you for listening. So today's discussion was done with the invitation of Miran Tarindu Munasinghe from Malaysia. It's devotedly sponsored by Miran. The primary purpose of his meritorious offering to share merits with his parents and all family members. May all of them be healthy, happy, and may they live long, and may they be able to achieve all their sublime goals as soon as possible, including Miran, and may all divine beings who rejoice in merit partake in this offering. May this merit be dedicated to the venerable Dhamma preacher and all esteemed monks who uphold and spread the Dhamma. Special merits are also dedicated to Mr. Vajira Ranasinghe, residing in Switzerland, for providing this Zoom app for this Dhamma sermon. Yes, he has been providing this for a long period now, and may this also help him to have all the Dhamma knowledge and the correct view, which would lead him to the liberation, and also transferring these merits to Venerable Vajira Ranasinghe's beloved deceased father, and may he enjoy on all these Dhammadana made by his son, and may he be happy and finally attain the liberation, and may this merit be shared with everyone who has gathered today to listen to the Dhamma sermon. And also may Tarindu Miran Tarindu, may he by sponsoring these Dhamma talks, may he be able to achieve all the Dhamma knowledge, especially may not follow any wrong discourse in the samsara, and may he attain the Nibbana as soon as possible. And also special thanks to Mr. Vishwa Unantanne and Mrs. Udyani Unantanne for conducting all these, organizing all these sermons, and creating this platform with the name of Dhammapasada, so many could benefit in many ways, in Sinhala Dhamma talks and also in English Dhamma talks, and this had been done for a long period now, even with the participation of monks from IIT, and also even before that. They have been doing this for a long period, and may they be able to continue with this Dhamma endeavor for a long period supporting many people and giving the opportunity for many to listen to the Dhamma. And also merits to the ones who record and broadcast, Mr. Prasad and also Mr. Nikesh, who normally do such work, and also may they be able to achieve all their sublime goals. And finally, everyone who has and all the deceased relatives of everyone who has listened, may they be happy, may they rejoice on this merit. If they are suffering, may they be free from the suffering, and if they are enjoying pleasures already, may their pleasures enhance, and may they be able to achieve the final liberation soon. And all the deities who are residing and protecting the world, the Sasana, and also residing in this monastery, may they enjoy all these merits, and may they finally attain the liberation as soon as possible. And finally, all the ones who have listened to this Dhamma talk, may everyone be happy, healthy, live long, and may everyone have the opportunity to pursue the Dhamma path and finally attain the liberation as soon as possible. Idang bo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo, idang bo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo, idang bo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo, akasattaha cabummattaha deva naga mahindika, punyantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu sambuddha sasanang, akasattaha cabummattaha deva naga mahindika, punyantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu sambuddha desanang, akasattaha cabummattaha deva naga mahindika, punyantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu sambuddha savakan cirang rakkantu tan sada, imina punya kamme namami bala samagamo satan samagamo hotu yava nibbana patti, imina punya kamme namami bala samagamo satan samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya, imina punya kamme namami bala samagamo satan samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Idam me punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu, idam me punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu, idam me punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu, sabba dukkha pamunchatu, sadhu sadhu sadhu.